just start talking and let's just watch the video.
Sometimes a forgotten character from past games can rise from the ashes like a phoenix, returning with a bang to redeem themselves, and even getting a fan base in the process. However, sometimes you get the opposite. Today, we're discussing the most forgotten characters in Mortal Kombat.
Dairu Hotaru. Man, that's such a good game, bro. That's such a good game. Bro, it's such a good game, bro. I might play that game later on today, bro. Deception is such a good game, bro, y'all. I love that game, bro. I love that game. I love that game.
Bad history. If you think these characters deserve more love, then leave a like down below. And then keep that combo going by subscribing so you never miss any future videos. And without any further ado, let's begin.
Shout out to Underdog Gaming to his link. The link to the video will be in the description.
Looking for cheap software like Windows 11 for less than $3? Well, Royal CD Keys has you covered. Don't forget to use my code TrueUnderdog for 10% purchasing software. If I never played Mortal Kombat Deception, I would think this guy was made in the Creative Fighter from Armageddon. But nope, he's definite. First up, let's talk about Darius. If I'm being honest, he looks like a fan-created character. If I never played Mortal Kombat Deception, I would think this guy was made in the Creative Fighter from Armageddon. But nope, he's definitely real, and as you can tell, he is a giant Blade ripoff. Because when Deception came out, Blade was a very popular character, and Midway wanted to capitalize. However, unfortunately, Midway did not go far enough with the parody, and as a result...
That's true. Sorry to cut him off, but that's true. He pretty much looks like Blade. Bald black man. Shout out to them for putting a black man in the game, though, you know. They took it far, you know, I guess. But yeah, I didn't, like, when playing this game, I didn't really... I don't know anybody who mained this character. It wasn't really like, oh, I'm finna pick him, like, so I could try hard. Yeah, no.
Darius falls short in every possible way. His attacks are dull and uncreative, his lore is extremely boring, and as we already mentioned, his design is not fun to look at or very original. And as a result, it's no wonder why this character never came back. In fact, I don't think he's even mentioned in any of the NetherRealm games. And honestly, I don't want this character to ever come back, and I think Fighters Den said it best.
So Jax wasn't in this game, so I guess they needed the token black guy to replace him.
Next up, we have
Bro, that's wild, bro. That's wild. That's wild.
Pyro. There's almost nothing to say about this guy. His design is kind of cool, I suppose, but they didn't go far enough. And as a result, your boy comes off looking like an NPC. I'm surprised this character can even be played. He's that bland. And unfortunately, his personality's not much better. This guy is literally, oh, I'm strong, and that's it. I'm convinced this character was created solely for Conquest mode, and that's it. And even in that regard, he doesn't do very much, so I think he's just there to get beaten up by the player. Because just like Darius, his gameplay is so underwhelming, and so is his lore, his attacks.
Sorry. Yeah, his moveset, I'm gonna be honest, bro, he's probably at the very bottom when it comes to like who I want to play with. He's like the very bottom. I'm playing Darius before I play him, I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like, he's pretty boring. Hairline is terrible. Yeah, there's nothing going for him.
Are forgettable, his dialogue is really cheesy and cliche, and as a result, I'm convinced this character is never going to return, not even as a severed head like Su Hao. That's how little people care about this character. They can't even summon the energy to hate him. Now, in fairness, I do think elements of his design might return, but it's going to be used on an entirely new character. Dairo himself is never going to return, and you can quote me on that, because if he does return, then I don't know what NetherRealm's thinking. And next up, we have Jarek. This guy is a black dragon, and that's literally all there is to his story. However, even so, I bet most of you know who this character is, mainly for his hilarious ending.
You're the last one, Jarek.
That short clip right there was all it took to make this character famous. Almost nobody knows his moves or even...
Bro, when I bought when I was playing Armageddon, I didn't know who he was. I didn't play MK4, but I know a lot about MK4. MK4 is not a good game. I'm sorry. I know I didn't play it, but excuse me. I know I didn't play it, but no, I'm not. Also, I don't know if y'all noticed this. I'm pretty sure y'all did. But during the Armageddon like conquest mode, his voice actor was like one of the main voice actors for the side characters you was beating up, and now like his voice actor was just hilarious to me. Like the screams that they did was hilarious, bro.
His lore, but everybody has seen that ending. Just like Dyro and Darius, there's not much else to say about Jarek. He's a very bland and uninteresting character. Just like every character mentioned before, I think Jarek was made solely to be beaten up, and that's about it. But they also had to make him playable, so they did what they could. And as a result, he's going to remain one of the most forgotten characters in Mortal Kombat history. Outside of that ending, no one's gonna know anything about him. And now it's finally time to talk about Kai. I'm gonna be completely honest, I forgot this character's name.
Bro, Kai was supposed to be the Black Liu Kang, bro. And they folded. I'm not finna act like I just cared about the man, because I didn't. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't. But he could have been, a lot of these characters could have been something special if you wrote them right, but like, you know, things happen. You've seen the newest games. When they reboot something, they reboot it. Whether they make it better or worse. 9 times out of 10, it's probably worse. But they could have done more with him. I feel like they had potential with a lot of 3D era characters, but didn't like, how do I put this? They didn't like put enough effort into it to what, from what we see. You know what I mean?
Because nobody ever plays him, which is honestly a bit bizarre because I think his design is actually somewhat cool. I'm a big fan of the arm paint. And what's even more shocking is this character's ending has a big impact on the lore. Raiden gives him his staff and wants him to take over. However, Kai turns him down and decides to go on his own journey instead. This character had so much potential, but for whatever reason, he was left out of every single game afterwards until Armageddon. And that's only because Armageddon has every character that was ever playable in past games. That's the only reason he shows up at all. It's been a long time since I played Armageddon, but I don't think Kai does anything interesting in the conquest mode or anything like that. And if I'm being honest, his new design sucks in Armageddon. I really don't like it. I prefer the original look from MK4. I know it's really simple by comparison, but sometimes simple can be better. And now before we move on to the honorable mentions, I want to talk about Leigh May. This character had so much potential, and believe it or not, she was originally Liu Kang's replacement. And that's because Liu Kang dies at the start of Deadly Alliance. But Midway still wanted to have that one character who yelled a ton and did a bunch of kung fu moves, and that's why they added Leigh May. And Leigh May doesn't just sound like Liu Kang, she also has her own version of the bicycle kick, where she punches instead. It looks really goofy, but I understand what they were going for. They wanted Leigh May to be similar but different from Liu Kang. That way she was fresh but still familiar for everyone who wanted that gameplay style. And if I'm being honest, this character had potential. Her gameplay was somewhat fun, and I do like her design a lot.
She was one of the more, like, as far as female characters go, she was one of the more female characters that I played with in that era of games. Like, yeah, she probably would, like, besides Melina, like, she was the other one that I played with a lot. She definitely had potential. We really don't see much from her, except from the MKX story, when she had the little, you know, scene or whatever. But, like, other than that, hopefully she gets in the other timeline, but who knows, bro? Who knows?
Very original, especially the pants. But guess what? Midway killed her in her own ending. Yeah, her very first game, and they killed her right away in her own ending. I cannot put into words how disrespectful that is. I could understand her dying in somebody else's ending, but for Midway to kill her in her own ending after you finish the arcade ladder is absolutely ridiculous. It's her first game, and she's meant to replace Liu Kang, which means in a weird way, Liu Kang dies
Legend has it that in the Eastern Jin Dynasty, Neja had 3 heads.
twice. He dies in the intro, and then his parody dies in her own ending. How ridiculous is that? I might make an entire video on how developers hate Liu Kang, because I'm not sure why it is, and I want to start digging. Now, thankfully, Leigh May does return in the following games, but guess what? She's turned into a harlot. She literally sides with the main villain and becomes his queen. Once again, mad disrespect from the developers. She is either dead or a traitor in her endings. That is ridiculous. And the disrespect keeps on coming. In fact, it transcends other developers, because NetherRealm also crapped on this character. Leigh May shows up in Mortal Kombat X, but guess what? She's not playable, and she's not even fighting in any of the cutscenes. She says a couple of lines, and then she dips, which is already bad.
Didn't I just say that? Makes no sense.
enough, but then on top of that, she looks pretty ugly, if I'm being honest. What a weird looking character model. The concept art looked good, but not the character model. I'm not sure what happened there. And you might be thinking, well, at least she shows up in the Battle of the Realms movie, but does she? Does she? Because according to the writers, she's not in the movie at all. It's Melina. That's right, if you check the credits of Battle of the Realms, it says Melina instead of Leigh May. She does not even get credited for being in the movie. Your girl gets her butt kicked by Sonya for no reason. And real talk, I do actually want this character to return, and if she does, I want her to be a grounded, offense-based fighter with tons of frame traps, long grounded combos, all that cool stuff. And also bring back her old design. It honestly just looked way better. And now it's time for some honorable mentions. First up, we have Suhao. Despite this character being a living meme and mocked all the time and even killed in Aaron Black's intro, most Mortal Kombat fans do know who he is, so he's not forgotten, and oddly enough, his hatred has transformed into love in a weird sort of way. There are tons of players who want to see this character redeemed and brought back and done justice in a future Mortal Kombat game. They want to see if he can work, and as a result, I'm including him as an honorable mention. Next up, we have Mocap. Now, I don't consider this guy a character at all. I understand he's playable, but he was clearly meant to be a one-off joke character and never to return in future games. However, even so, Mocap does have fans, believe it or not. A lot of players want him to return. I don't think it's likely, but hey, the guy has a fan base. And for all those reasons, I don't consider him a forgotten character. I think Mocap is simply Mocap. Nothing more and nothing less. And then finally, we have the Conquest characters.
Yo, the Conquest characters the potential there is crazy. The fact that they made Shujinko so old, it's like, I don't know if I don't remember what they said in the story to make him that old, if they said anything, but the fact that he's so old and everybody else is young around him, well, he literally was younger than everybody, it's crazy. But the story was like, I love it. I love Deception's story. It's not perfect, but it's great. Same thing with Armageddon, like Taven and Dagon, the two brothers. It was a good, a good story. Only for it to get retconned with MK9, but like, hey, things happen.
Of which there are several. I'm gonna put them on screen. These characters were invented solely for story mode, and as a result, I'm not shocked they haven't returned in future games. And even though they were one-off characters, a lot of players would be super excited if they return. And as a result...
Sorry. I know I keep pausing, I'm sorry. What I meant to say about retcon is, Taven was supposed to be the one who got the power from Blaze, but it was Shao Kahn. That's all I want to say, sorry.
I don't consider any of these characters to be failures, even if they are a bit bland. I think if given a second chance, they could be very popular and also very fun to play. And now finally, we have the #1 most forgotten character in Mortal Kombat history. Psych, it's actually two characters, Cobra and Kira. These characters are so bland and boring that I have to combine them into one spot, because otherwise they wouldn't even be worth talking about. These characters have almost nothing to them lore-wise. They're Black Dragon members and that's it. Once again, they're NPCs that just happen to be playable. They were created solely to be beaten up, and that's it. You can't convince me these characters weren't made for the sole purpose of being punching bags. That is clearly the entire point behind their design. Because not only are these characters thrashed by everybody in story mode, but they even kill each other in their own ending. First it's Kira that kills Cobra, and then in the next game it's Cobra who kills Kira after Kira saves him. These characters even kill each other, and that is next level jobber. And I bet a lot of you watching are thinking, huh, that Cobra character looks a bit familiar.
Ken
yeah,
Masters.
You're right, because he was inspired by Ken. He's a living parody. And then on top of that, the Cobra name is definitely a reference to Cobra Kai, so he's a weird fusion dance of two different parodies. Which honestly sounds cool on paper, but the problem is his backstory is so stupid, and unlike Ken, he's not even that good of a fighter. He loses to everybody. Compared to the original, Cobra absolutely sucks. Oh my god, he's Dan. I just realized he's Dan.
Nah, that's a violation. That's a violation. Calling him Dan is a violation, bro. That's messed up, bro.
But for Mortal Kombat. I can't believe I didn't realize that until now. Okay, a brief backstory on Dan. Street Fighter had a competing series known as Fatal Fury, and in that game they have a character named Ryo, who is an obvious parody of Ryu. And the creator of Street Fighter was not happy about that at all, so he took their character and made a parody of him too. He took the gi and made it pink, and then had that character lose to everybody in Street Fighter. Dan is canonically one of the weakest characters in the entire game, if not the weakest character. And it's the exact same case for Cobra. This character is Ken Ken, only he sucks. Are you kidding me? He is literally Dan, but in Mortal Kombat. That's nuts. I hope you enjoyed my video on the most forgotten characters in Mortal Kombat history. Please post in the comments any characters that you want to return in future games. And then while you're down there, leave a like if you enjoyed my video. It really does help the channel out a ton. And then keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell. That way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.
Okay, that was a good video. He wasn't wrong. Yeah, he wasn't really wrong. Hopefully, like, I just want Mortal Kombat to do better. We don't have to keep seeing the same, like, characters all the time. Like Sub-Zero and Scorpion, that's a must. You know what I mean? And with the new Cage family thing, that's probably gonna be a must too. But since the timeline has been rebooted, I feel like they can switch up the roster, you know? Like, is people on this roster, like on certain rosters where like they probably could have been replaced by somebody else. Like a lot of 3D era characters like that were underdeveloped, they could come back and have more implemented into their backstory and like be a bigger part of the game. Havoc, like people like that is just like, oh, just do better. But that's the end of the video, y'all. It's THT. I'm out. Peace.